Hello, it is January 6, 2021. I'm Pastor Ann Fenlason from Trinity Lutheran Church in Long Lake, Minnesota. It is Epiphany today, so happy Epiphany. I mentioned on Monday, I might have gotten some of my information wrong, so I do want to correct that. Epiphany is the day in the church calendar where we celebrate the arrival of the three magi who have traveled to visit Jesus. It's the end of Christmas. The beginning of this season of Epiphany is always on January 6th. And I love the story that we get to hear on Epiphany. Often we don't get that story because, as you can tell, this year Epiphany falls on a Wednesday. So it's going to be a couple years before it actually falls on a Sunday again. But this gives me a great opportunity to read that scripture to you today. We get this story of the Magi only in the Gospel of Matthew, and it starts with chapter 2. On Monday, I read from John's Gospel from Eugene Peterson's paraphrase of the Message, and I would like to read his paraphrase of this story of the Magi for you today. He writes, "After Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory, this was during Herod's kingship, a band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east. They asked around, 'Where can we find and pay homage to the newborn King of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth, and we're on a pilgrimage to worship him.' Now, when word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified, and not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religion scholars in the city together and asked, 'Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?' And they told him, 'Bethlehem, Judah territory.' The prophet Micah wrote it plainly. Here's what Micah said, 'It's you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd, rule my people, my Israel.' Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the east. Pretending to be as devout as they were, he got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Then he told them the prophecy about Bethlehem and said, 'Go find this child. Leave no stone unturned. As soon as you find him, send word, and I'll join you at once in your worship.' Instructed by the king, they set off. Then the star appeared again, the same star they had seen in the eastern skies. It led them on until it hovered over the place of the child. They could hardly contain themselves. They were in the right place. They had arrived at the right time. They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother. Overcome, they kneeled and worshipped him. Then they opened their luggage and presented gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In a dream, they were warned not to report back to Herod. So they worked out another route, left the territory without being seen, and returned to their own country. They went home by another way." There's a wonderful song that's written with that same title about this story. I think it's a James Taylor tune. But the story I love a lot. And I want to show you some of the artwork that I've learned to appreciate over the years about this story. This comes from the cathedral in a French town known as Autun. It's Autun, and it's a bas relief on that cathedral. You can see the angel with the finger touching the hand of one of the magi, and you can see that his eyes are open. The other two are sleeping soundly. So he's getting this message from the angel. Last year I happened upon this, a rendition. It's an artist's rendition of that same bas relief. And I loved it so much I purchased the rights to copy it. It's hanging up in my office at church. And last, one of the artists I love, his liturgical art, is a Chinese artist named He Qi, Heqi. And whoops, I've got that. Let me set that straight for you. You can see that it's based off of the bas relief work in Autun, France. And the angel's touching the hand of the Magi, and his eyes are open, and the other two are sleeping. He gets the message. Do not go back to Herod to let him know, because Herod, we all know that he didn't really have the best interests of anyone but himself at heart. So with Epiphany, it is called, also known as the season in the Church of Light. It's where we hear scripture that reveals Jesus to us in different ways. So happy Epiphany, everybody. Go out and look for Jesus. How might Jesus be revealing himself to you in your lives today? I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.